but it shifted the way that we network. Like I've been to probably every networking group out there, but I loved what the Jelly Social has become. Like I think every year we've grew and developed and tweaked our model where we are now. We're all about really helping to support entrepreneurs. As you said, it's not about the bottom line. Yes, we're all going to get into room, help connect, and you want to make that sale, but we want to be more than that. We want to be able to be like, no, how can we genuinely connect with each other like how we have here in this room? And really, see how can we collaborate with each other to make that difference.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Chris-Beth, Cowie, founder of Empowered Facts and the founder and host of BizGrams. I'm super excited here today because I am with two of my favorite people in the world, Sunjit Khamba and Amanda Russell from Jelly Social. So I'll just give Sunjit a quick moment to introduce himself, and then we'll go over to Amanda.
Hey, yeah. So thanks for having us, Chris-Beth. Always happy to do things like this. Put word out to the community of all the great work that you're doing with Empowered for X and also the work that we're doing with Jelly Social. So again, I'm Sunjit. I'm the co-founder of Jelly Social along with Amanda here. And everything that we're about is supporting BIPOC entrepreneurs, helping our BIPOC entrepreneurs get the build up their networks, help them collaborate with other BIPOC entrepreneurs and allies, and so that we can work together collectively to take ourselves to the next level, overcome our boundaries, overcome obstacles, so that we can succeed together, is really what we're all about with Jelly Social.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that intro, Sunjit. Amanda, over to you.
And hello, and thank you so much, Chris-Beth. I love you guys and all the support for Empowered for X. You guys are awesome. And yes, along with Sunjit, co-founder of Jelly Social, I know I wear a couple hats too. So I'm all about helping to create various platforms to help connect other entrepreneurs through the events that we coordinate. So I love what we do, really like hearing people's passion, purpose, bringing it all together and helping us all elevate. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's amazing. And having been connected to Jelly, I believe from the inception, when we were meeting over at Sunjit's place out in Mississauga there, it was epic, right? And to see how the community has grown and flourished over these number of years, I think it's like more than 5 years now. It's super exciting. So one of the things that we like to do here on BizGrams is really, telling your story as an entrepreneur, giving people a chance and opportunity to be inspired. And so, Sunjit, let's start with you. Tell us what got you started on your entrepreneurship journey.
Okay, so technically, I've been on the entrepreneur journey from the day I was born. So my family, we're actually 3 generations of basically contractors, landowners, property developers, that type of thing. So my grandpa actually started the business in India, where he had several properties that he then developed, flipped, that type of model way back in the day. And then my dad, when he came to Canada, kind of did the same thing. And now here I am doing the same thing as well. So for as long as I can remember, actually, I've been in this entrepreneurial kind of a hustle environment because I remember actually every day coming home after school, every day in the summertime, just coming out and, supporting my dad, my mom in our business ventures here. So I'm pretty much on, along the same lines as my grandpa and my dad, where I'm also really involved in all aspects of the business, where it's, when it comes to, selecting properties, purchasing properties, getting the financing for the properties, developing those properties, getting tenants, commercial and residential tenants, and then ongoing management. So that's always been in the background in everything that I do, in every phase of my life. That's always kind of there. And it's no different now. In fact, now as I'm getting older, I'm finding more and more responsibilities coming my way. So that's kind of always there from an entrepreneurial standpoint. But in terms of where I am with Jelly, that has almost a separate storyline. So after after I did my MBA, I found myself, actually, I was employed in oil and gas and pharmaceutical. I would take on contracts specifically in those industries. And my specialty happened to be strategy development. So I would basically work with executives in the oil and gas industry and the pharmaceutical industry. And I would do essentially strategy development as well as analyses in terms of what they can expect from the bottom line impact. So every strategy I did also had this costing analysis and ROI bottom line analysis associated with it, and that was kind of my specialty. So and I don't know if we're all too familiar with oil and gas and pharmaceutical, but I can say that there's a lot of questionable things from a moral standpoint that happen there, and a lot of it is driven by the bottom line focus, where everything that's done is really about, does this make money for us? If yes, 100% go for it. If not, then pivot to the next project. That's very much the mentality in these industries, which is fine. It's not to say that that's not a way to go. That they've been around for hundreds of years, kind of employing this model. So if it works, then it's something that they're going to continue doing. Where it started to conflict with me morally was that at times I would be developing strategies and doing ROI analyses that really went against my moral beliefs. So for instance, sometimes an ROI analysis may include the cost of displacing a First Nations community, or the cost of a human life, and things of that nature. And if at the end of the calculation, if it's still a plus, a profit for the company, it doesn't matter, who you exploit, who you impact, or who you displace. As long as it's making money at the end of the day, you still go for it. So that was a lot of the work I was doing after my MBA, and I really appreciate it from an experiential standpoint. I gained a ton of experience. I worked with a whole bunch of senior executives doing this work. And a lot of who I am today is because of all that. But again, after some time, I was just like, you know what, if I'm really good at what I do, but if I'm gonna be putting all this time and all this energy and all this effort into this work, I really want to start applying myself to things that are actually going to do good for the world. So at that point, once I got the idea in my head, I started thinking, hey, you know what? It would be great if I could do this type of work for nonprofit agencies, for government agencies, and other organizations that are doing good. So I started putting feelers out there, and it took me a bit of time to basically convince, a nonprofit to take me on. And again, the big argument was that I have no background in nonprofit. I have this background in oil and gas and pharmaceutical. Will the skills transfer over? And so I had that conversation a lot, and one organization took a shot on me, which I'm so thankful for. And after that, I put my heart and my soul into that project, did really well. And then they referred me to other people who referred me to other people who referred me to other people. And now I only take on contracts that are aligned with, those type of social good initiatives. And I'm happy to say that, I'm no longer, taking on contracts that are morally conflicting to me. So that's kind of started my journey onto, the whole social impact side of things. But then the other thing that kind of came out at the same time, when I started taking on these contracts, started learning more about social impact and how we as organizations can really enact a lot of good in our communities. I started thinking about that more and more, and that's where the notion of Jelly Social came along. Now, Jelly Social. Oh yeah, did something want to add?
No, that's powerful. That's powerful. I was just gonna say, in terms of, what I heard, it's, as an entrepreneur, making a decision to do work that is aligned with your values and morals, and really taking that stance to break out of what could have been considered normal behavior and saying, no, I'm going to challenge that norm. I'm going to challenge the status quo to do business for good. One of the things I oftentimes talk about is, the triple bottom line. For folks who are not familiar what a social enterprise is, it is either a nonprofit or a for-profit entity that has a revenue generated entity, but it holds true to the purpose and the mission. So being mindful of the way that their business is impacting people, planet, and the profits ultimately. So really looking at the sustainability of that organization as through a holistic lens. So continue, Sunjit, tell us a little bit what you're going to say about Jelly Social.
Yeah, so just the notion of Jelly Social kind of came about after all those experiences, and one of the big things that that really came to mind again with all those experiences I had was this notion of the compassionate heart, where it seems like we have this compassionate heart with so many things that we do in life. When it comes to our interactions on a one-on-one basis, when it comes to giving our support, our servitude, and that type of thing. There's a lot of compassion when it comes to things that we do on our daily basis. But I found that that compassionate heart was almost lacking in business. And not only was it lacking, but it was purposefully removed from a business context, because I think the way that we think about business is that we have to do everything to ensure that we're maximizing the bottom line, even if that means sacrificing our compassionate heart. So when it comes to Jelly Social, a lot of the core philosophy is how can we start to bring that compassionate heart back into our business operations and start to really think about business as not just this really cold solely revenue generating thing, but something that yes, generates some revenue for us, but at the same time does a net positive for community benefit when you take things overall. So when it comes to Jelly Social, we started thinking about, hey, you know what, if we're going to put this out there, this philosophy out there, what can we do to really start to, bring that compassionate heart into business? And with Jelly Social, our philosophy has been really about, hey, you know what, let's stop thinking so much just about the bottom line, and let's start thinking about each other as people. So we're not just this mass of entrepreneurs. We're actually individuals who are also entrepreneurs, individuals with a compassionate heart. So let's start seeing each other as more than numbers and dollars and cents. Let's start seeing each other as individuals, and let's see what we can do to support one another as a community. And that's really been the basis of Jelly Social.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. I remember in those early days when Jelly Social was off and going, we had containers with jelly beans on them. Amanda, tell us about your entrepreneurial journey and how has Jelly Social really reflected your experience as an entrepreneur as well? I know you do multiple things in your other ventures, but yes.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Sanjit put it very well. And I guess, well, to start with my foundation, it's funny how it all begins with family, right? Because same, like my dad, entrepreneur for life. He had me and my brother hustling from time, but he was like a multi-serial entrepreneur. So from I don't know, vending machines to restaurants to gas stations, you name it, we've been in it. So I think I've been introduced to even that network marketing, not even realizing it was network marketing. We had boxes of hair products and all these different types of things I never knew. And so from a young age, I guess we saw that, and then we built that model, and I adapted to that. I was selling t-shirts at his restaurant, doing my own designs. So from that, I thought, it's cool that you can create your own experience, right? You find something that you love doing, you put your passion, your hard work, your ethics, and you work with family. The concept of owning your own time, right? So that way it's not dictated by the big boss man. So my dad, I guess, instilled that. Like I say, it runs in our blood. So I even, I did the regular thing. We went to university, got a good job, went to school, did that whole bit, like the rich dad, poor dad says. And I did corporate for 10 years, technology company. I was selling industrial batteries. Wasn't the most exciting job ever. But then I actually got introduced to LegalShield, and this is where my entrepreneurial kick back in, where I'm like, okay, what am I doing? I'm making more money on my lunch break, going out and sharing the services. And then someone told me about networking. They're like, hey, have you ever tried networking? I'm like, what the heck is that? So coming from corporate world, I never understood what networking was. So then I started going out, reaching out to all the various networking groups, really understood the model, and then founded like another group called Weekend Network. And so we all kind of got connected, like, oh my God, it must have been like 9 years back then, right? And then all of us got connected, and then get in contact with Sunjit, and they were like, all right, Jelly Social. We had those little, as you said, the jelly beans, being in like his studio with the glass, and we're all writing down ideas. But it shifted the way that we network. Like I've been to probably every networking group out there, but I loved what Jelly Social has become. Like I think every year we've grew and developed and tweaked our model where we are now. We're all about really helping to support entrepreneurs. As you said, it's not about the bottom line. Yes, we're all going to get into a room, help connect, and you want to make that sale, but we want to be more than that. We want to be able to be like, no, how can we genuinely connect with each other like how we have here in this room? And really, see how can we collaborate with each other to make that difference? Because sure, the sales will come, but I think we could make such a stronger impact in our community by all working together. And it's all that collective movement and having, as you said, like the compassion. I think with Jelly Social, we're a little bit different in that model, right? Compared to what I've seen out there. So being able to work together, and then have Jelly Social grow and become the entity that it is to connect like the BIPOC community now, and really making that difference in that stance. And I find that we've been getting like amazing reviews in terms of like, my gosh, like you guys really care, right? You come into a room and you guys, it's a warm environment. Everybody's genuinely looking out to how can we help? What do you need help with? And I know back in the day when we had in our glass boards where we like write all the resources and tips and tricks, like people would walk away and they'd be like, oh, this was awesome. They'd always go away with something, and you gain all these new nuggets and seeing how we can help support. So this is where, unfortunately we're now in the virtual land, but it's, I think, even better because now we can connect and communicate. I still miss being in a room with you guys, but it's more efficient in terms of time and travel, right?
Yes.
So that has worked. And I think throughout the time that we've been like the past year, we really evolved because being in this new normal has forced us to the word pivot, right? And figure out how can we continue to support our community through the services and like making sure that we are all connected some way. Because as entrepreneurs, we still need that connection. And just knowing that somebody out there you can bounce ideas off of and create something, I think that's huge. So I really look forward to seeing how we can continue helping people through like, on my event background too, I'm all about creating events and platforms where we showcase people and understand their journey and their story. So I love what you guys are doing today too. And really like, hearing people's stories to see how they were, what started them and where they are now. I think that's amazing.
Thank you so much to both of you. And you know what I heard, and as an entrepreneur, if you're out there, really it's about the connection, leading with heart, empathy, that care and compassion towards others. It's not just about making that sale and walking away. It's about the relationship building piece. And one of the methodologies that we've used here at Empowered Facts, and I know you all use at Jelly Social as well, that design thinking model, really leading with empathy, understanding the people that you're serving. And it's really cool to hear that, your business did not stay stagnant, right? We see 5 years ago or whenever you started, it was in one place and you've grown, you've developed, you've listened, you've changed and adapted to meet the need of the people that you're serving. And one of the cool things I do love about the Jelly networking clusters is really that ask and give. Amanda, can you talk to us and tell us a little bit more about that philosophy of ask and give with your members?
Oh, yes. And I love like we call it the Jelly Challenge, right? And, Sunjit, well, he's like the brains behind it all too, because the question that he collectively made up, it's like all about like, hey, let's ask about, who you are, what you do you need help with, right? And then how can you also give back to the community? And I think that gives the people a different reference, like, oh, right, okay, yeah, so what do I need help with? So it makes them kind of put down the wall, be a little bit more vulnerable, and not about that, putting on that sales hat, right? So now they got to change the way, because now we're not asking for the sale, not asking for that. You're like, no, let's switch, right? Let's see, what do you need help with in the room? So you'd say, hey, I need help with like, my ask would be like guest speakers, and people would be like, okay, here, I can help. And it's nice when people know they're like, okay, I can help you, right? Because, instead of like feeling that you're going to room selling to everybody. Now I think it's changed the dynamic that people go into room like, okay, let me put on my how can I help people now in this room, and then really hearing them put that out there really changes the way we kind of communicate and help and collaborate, and really put that compassion back into like networking and business. So I think that's where, you know, that whole ask and give has, I don't know, been our change and our like main foundation here too.
Yeah, no, that's
And
awesome. Go
I'd
ahead,
like to add to
Sunjit.
that just a bit. Yeah, and it's another thing too that we had realized like early on was that you know, a lot of times there's this entrepreneurial culture that a lot of people feel like you know, we need to fit into, and that entrepreneurial culture, it kind of comes across like we have all the answers. So yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I have all the answers. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly my way forward. When we know the reality is that's probably not the case. But in with people trying to fit into that entrepreneurial culture mindset, it doesn't create great connections. It doesn't create great communication. So what we started doing is when we introduced the Jelly Challenge, really the challenge is to step away from that persona and be real. Be honest and real with your situation. That, you know, as an entrepreneur, you don't have to portray yourself in this particular way. There's other ways you can portray yourself. You can portray yourself also as an individual who does need help to take the next step, and that's really the case for every entrepreneur who doesn't need a little bit of support to take the next level as an entrepreneur. So with the Jelly Challenge, it's a forced vulnerability that's put on all of us. Because again, we have to put ourselves in this vulnerable position where we have to acknowledge that, hey, we don't have all the answers. We do need a little bit of help. So let me put this ask for help out there. And while I'm also putting this ask for help out there, me being an individual and a real human being, I can also help you in your business. So let me see how I can help your business as well. So it's really that whole ask and give aspect that allows us to step away from the entrepreneur, you know, I have all the answer persona, and be a real rounded human being with that compassionate heart.
Yeah, one of the things my mentors have always told me is he knows nothing. He's open. He's an open learner, right? Like I'm asking the questions. I'm seeking out those golden nuggets from people around me, right? Opening the books and reading and just absorbing and then asking, how can I apply this, right? So that's really powerful. Sunjit, over to you. I know Jelly Social has a couple of events coming up. So maybe Sunjit, you there? You disappeared for a little bit. I was just going to say, I know we have a couple of events coming up. The exhibit really highlighting Black entrepreneurs, makers, creatives this month. And you have we have some others coming up as well. So if you could just talk to us about the event tonight and, you know, just how people could plug in.
Yeah, for sure. So again, everything we're talking about here with Jelly Social, it's about, you know, coming together as a community and, you know, doing what we can to support others in the community, right? And a big focus for Jelly Social this particular month, of course, is Black History Month. So what we want to do is we really want to highlight, you know, Black entrepreneurs, Black artists, Black makers in the community. And again, come together as a community to take part in this whole Jelly Challenge, this whole Jelly model of asking and supporting and that whole thing. So tonight we actually have an event, as Chris-Beth mentioned, in partnership with Empowered for X, and it's called The Exhibit. And really what we're doing today is we have 10 Black artists from the community, artists, musicians, and makers, who we're going to be highlighting at our event today. And they're going to be telling us a bit about their story. They're going to tell us their inspiration, why they produced this art, why they're in art in general. And they're going to wrap it up with you know, a bit of an ask in terms of what they can use help with taking the next step forward. So every one of these 10 artists are going to be taking part in that, which is the Jelly Challenge. And once that's done, we're going to conclude the event with some open networking. So you're going to get a chance to speak with those featured artists. You have a chance to speak with others in the Jelly Social community. And we're going to engage with this compassionate heart, with this ask and give mentality. So it's going to be a great event. We do this every month. And every month we have a different theme. So again, this month, it's all about supporting Black artists. Next month, our theme is going to be all about social media. So the event is actually called Be Social. And again, we're gonna have the same model. We'll be bringing 10 social media experts to the event who'll be doing their talk and follow that up with networking as well. And that's going to be in early March. So invite you to come out to the event tonight, get an idea of what this whole Jelly vibe is about, this whole Jelly model. Actually experience it, tonight on Zoom, and then also tell your friends, tell everyone else to join us for the next one as well. So we always like to see, encourage our participants to tell other people about all the exciting things that's happening in the community. So we invite you to tell your friends, bring them out to the next event, and that's how this community grows.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we will be sharing the details about how you can get connected to the folks at Jelly as well as the event tonight. So stay tuned for that in a little bit. Amanda, as we begin to wrap up, I have two more questions for each of you. The first one is a tip or an advice for an entrepreneur.
I would say right now, especially during this time, it would be to network, especially as an entrepreneur. We can't be meeting in person. So I know myself, it's just, as I say, making those connections. You need to keep that funnel full, right? To make sure that you're really seeing how we can connect. So join as many online networking communities as you can. Follow up, do your your coffee dates on Zoom or tea dates on Zoom, because you really need to have more engagement with that individual after this, like a call, like a networking event. So I think the importance of just following up so you can have a little more deeper conversation and utilizing the time that we're at home right now to make these connections. Because we could go in a Zoom room and have like 5 different meetings that day, right? So I think this is the best time to even grow your business. If you haven't started your side hustle yet, start that side hustle. So it's a great opportunity to do so much, I think, during this time. So take advantage of it.
Awesome. Thank you. Sanjit, over to you. Tip or advice for entrepreneur.
I have 2 tips. One's from the analytical side of myself. The other one's from the spiritual side of myself. So I'm gonna start with the analytical. One is don't be afraid to experiment right now with your business. There's a lot of change in the air. There's a lot of changes happening in the business environment. And that means there's going to be things about your business that may no longer fit with the current context of the business environment. So in order for you to be proactive, you need to start thinking about, or thinking about experiments, running small experiments on how you can better align yourself with the business environment moving forward. So it doesn't have to be a big change. It doesn't have to be anything that you have to throw a lot of money into. Just think small. Think about your minimum viable product and think about something that you want to experiment with and try on a test basis, on a pilot basis with a small group of beta users. Try that out, collect your data, see how that goes. Your data will tell you whether it's something to be scaled up or adjusted or even scrapped. But do those experiments and try to see what the next iteration of your business is. So that's the analytical side of me is saying. Now, the spiritual side of me is also, again, pushing up the message of compassion in business. So again, the big story, the big theme here is that we as individuals, yes, we're probably struggling right now during the pandemic. There's a lot of things we're going through. But regardless of what we're going through, there's other entrepreneurs, other people in our community who are also going through the same thing. So let's engage with one another with that compassion, empathizing with others who are going through similar situations, and also putting our compassionate heart out there to see what we can do to serve them, to help them, to give them whatever it is that we can give them. Let's start thinking about things that way. Let's start thinking about other people in our community as human beings, and let's really go at it with our compassion first, even in the business context. Especially in the business context.
Especially in the business context.
Right.
I love
Yeah.
it.
So those are the 2 things I have to say.
That's awesome. And my final question is a phonetical thing. Okay, so phonetical is my word. I've dubbed this word. It is fun and epic adventures, great and small, celebrated. So can you share with us a phonetical thing that you do to re-energize your well-being and for self-care? So fun and epic, something you do to rejuvenate.
Fun and epic.
Yes.
That's really good. I think I need to create more fun and epic things. I'm like,
hey, great or
well,
small, right? So it could be something as like, to rejuvenate, I need to travel, bungee jump, go wherever, or just, have a quiet moment. We had yesterday, Kara Morgan shared phonetical moments, having ice cream, right? For her, it's just like having that ice cream. We had from J-Cell Murphy, forgiveness was a phonetical moment, because when you heal internally and forgive someone, you're ultimately being healed for yourself as well. So Sunjit, over to you. Phonetical moment.
Okay, so this is gonna sound really boring, but but my
Hey, it's phonetical to you. I'll take it. There's no judgment, zero judgment.
Meditation really centers me and balances me. And actually, I start my day off with an hour of meditation. It's gotten to a point where the days that I don't meditate, I don't feel right throughout the day. So I have to start off my day with meditation, and for me, it's fun. It's become something really enjoyable. But the other thing I've added in, and I want to do more of this. I just don't have the time to do it, but I'm trying to instill it in my day. I love reading, and then going off on tangents with writing about the things that I've read. So right now, for instance, I'm reading this book, Buddha Standard Time by Lama Surya Das. Great book. It's just about our relationship with time, and how in North America, we may not have the greatest relationship with it. And our relationship with time is something that we can think about just in terms of, it's the same thing as our relationship with our loved ones, our relationship with food, our relationship with money. These are all relationships that we need to have healthy, balanced, I guess, engagements with. And time is no different. So I'm reading this book right now, and the thing that's really giving me a lot of joy is just reading this, and then I just start getting these ideas, and I just start typing away. So that's really fun for me. It may sound like a really boring thing, but for me, I get like a lot of energy out of it.
Zero judgment, zero judgment. I love it. Meditation and reading, and then sharing that reading too. So thank you so much for that. Amanda, over to you.
All right. Well, I know. Well done. That's good. Like mine is, well, I got into baking. So that's like my little side, like pleasure treat now. So I think in the evening after like I finished doing all the crazy, like the day, right? Sitting down with the family, and I made brownies. So the past couple of nights is like just having ice cream and brownie, like after dinner. Like that's like our sweet treat, and just having a moment to just enjoy it. I think that has been my thing. So like I'll do my little baking treats when I get that time over the weekend. And then throughout the week, those are my like sweet treats in the evening to like reward myself. This is why COVID-20 is a real thing. I have to start exercising now in the morning so I can work this out. But yeah, I think that's my little escape as well.
Hey,
it's like a form of meditation, right? When you get into like doing something, it's relaxing.
Totally. I want to just say thank you to both of you. As I said, you all know from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate each and every one of you for the kindness, the friendship that we've had over these years. And, from humble beginnings to where we are today, I think it is reflective of our work as a collective, this unit really building, having thoughts and conversations back and forth. How can we continue to support and grow together? And I am so happy for where we are today. I wish we were all in this room. I can give you guys a hug. I'm sending you a virtual hug right now. Last but not least, Sunjit, if you could just tell people where they can find you, jellysocial.com.ca, your website and your social media handle, that would be great.
jellysocial.ca is our main website, and you can get information on all of our upcoming events there, as well as a growing list of BIPOC businesses in your city. So it's a new beta project we're working on, speaking of experiments. So what we're trying to do is really to throw our support towards BIPOC businesses and also ally businesses. We're just creating this really simple Yelp style directory of BIPOC businesses and ally businesses in your city that you can discover, reach out to, listen to their story, offer support, that type of thing. So it's a beta platform right now, and we're running it with a bunch of beta users. We'll be opening it up to the public at some point soon, but you can check it out, jellysocial.ca. And in terms of social, I'm going to pass it over to Amanda.
All right, so social media, like us, follow us. So we're on Instagram, on Jelly Social. You can check us out. We're all about, hey, especially in this virtual land, tag, comment, reshare, repost, all that fun stuff, right? We can at least help engage that way. Facebook, we have 2 groups. Jelly Social is our main page, and then Jelly United is our group page. Then we started another one with all the events as well. So we'll join those 2 pages, and then we'll help support. It's like Jelly Support Local is the other page. So while we're on social media, we're also going to start a podcast. So look out for our podcast coming up on the Clubhouse. So it's going to have the iPhone, I hear. So we're going to get on that last Friday of this month. So we'll have more details to follow, but really want to, get out there, see how we can continue supporting. So thank you so much, Chris-Beth. We love and appreciate you so much. Everything that you do for us, and congratulations to you and all that you've accomplished. I like seeing from where you guys were to now. Amazing. Like, you're my inspiration, motivation as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you to you both. Folks, this is it. Tune in daily at 11:30. We are going to be having more guests tomorrow. I'm excited. Ryan Knight from ACBN and founder of Detailing Nights will be joining us to talk about his entrepreneurial journey and some upcoming events as well. Take care. Bye, everyone.